Good day, everybody, and welcome back to Rugby Chats with Angus. It's been a while since we've spoken on this platform, but it's been worthwhile because I have a special guest in my little studio, or man cave, whatever you want to call it, and it's none other than former Western Province Currie Cup winning captain, I might add, Chris van Zyl. Chris, man, how are you doing?
Angus, lekker and you. Glad we get the opportunity to chat here on this cold, wet evening in Cape Town.
Yeah, it's been drizzling all day this side of the world as well, eh? Stellenbosch is notorious for being full of clouds and full of water, so
That's it.
it's always been a drizzle since this morning. But Chris, man, we've been waiting for a while to chat about your career since you announced your retirement, and I'm glad we got the opportunity now. But like I said to you before, I just want to do a bit of a backtrack and speak about your career from day one up until now. And you are
Sure.
on the Bosch boy, but you ended
Yeah.
up starting off with the Lions in Joburg. How did that move to Johannesburg originate, coming from Cape Town?
Angus, so I mean, as mentioned, I went to Rondebosch in Cape Town, then I went to study in the beautiful town of Stellenbosch. I was a Marty there. I played a bit of rugby for Marties. Didn't play much varsity cup, played a little bit of varsity cup, and actually graduated with my honours in accounting, and then decided to go and do my articles up in Joburg at Deloitte. And so that was why I actually moved up to Johannesburg. But by that stage, I had decided that I wanted to pursue a rugby career. So while I was completing my articles at Deloitte, I continued to play rugby and got the opportunity then through Johan Ackerman and Russell Winter to play for the Lions.
Awesome, man. And the funny thing is, your part would cross, but with Russell later on into Stormers again, eh?
Yeah, no, it's incredible. Yeah, exactly, 100%. Yeah.
And in that letter you wrote, I mentioned before, on your retirement, you mentioned how broken you were, that your pro career seemed short-lived at the point in time before you got the ultimate lifeline with your beloved Western Province in 2015. But before we get to that, what were the plans for life after rugby at that stage when it seemed to be all over for you before you even started?
So I mean, yeah. So I decided to. What happened in Joburg was, I got my professional contract with the Lions, and then, due to time constraints, I had to pause my training contract with Deloitte. And then when things became quite uncertain with the Lions, I actually picked up the conversation again with Deloitte, and I made a decision then to pursue my articles again and complete that. So my decision about life with the rugby I became quite adamant then to put all my energy into completing my articles. And I then also decided that would become a priority to finish my articles. And so I then, decided to speak to Deloitte again, and fortunately they had an opportunity for me back in Cape Town. And which then turned out to be good timing, as Dobbo ended up calling me quite soon after my return.
Okay, cool. And like I said, I actually wanted to bring this in now, but back to that lifeline. I mean, how did it actually happen that you got to play for the team that you actually grew up supporting?
Yeah, I mean, I think you've worded it quite nicely. It was obviously always a dream of mine. I grew up around the corner from Newlands. I went to most games. I sat in the scholars with my friends. I ball-boyed. And, at first my dream was, of course, to play professional rugby, but it had always been to play in the blue and white stripes and for the Stormers. Dobbo had identified my talent or seen something that he liked when I was back at Marty's playing varsity cup. He in fact wanted me to go and captain that team at some stage, and I turned him down because I wanted to prove myself a point at Stellenbosch. But I think when he heard I'd returned to Cape Town, he took the opportunity to get me down to training, and that was at the beginning of 2015. And what was different this time was that I'd started my articles again at Deloitte. So I said to Dobbo, I'm very keen to play, and this is a massive dream of mine, and I'm honoured, but I'm not going to stop my article. So it was a couple of years of doing both, but well worth it. And thanks to Dobbo and Flecky, they never. I won't say that, but they always made it very possible for me to continue my articles and my study commitments, which I think is very admirable of them.
No, that's amazing from their side, actually.
Yeah.
And 2017 Currie Cup season. I remember that one quite fondly, by the way. You were appointed as captain. I mean, before I continue this question, what were the first feelings that you felt when Dobbo told you, listen, Chris, I want you to lead this side for the season?
So I think I must remember correctly, but I think in 2016 I actually got my. So I mean, I captained before for him at Vodacom Cup level, and there was Vodacom Cup, then there was Currie Cup qualifying, and then there was Super Sport Challenge. So I'd captained him then before, and then I think in 2016, if I'm not mistaken, there was the Currie Cup that started either shortly after or during the Super Rugby season was still on. I can't remember. And we went up to the Bulls and he appointed me as captain there. So that, I think I started my first time as a Currie Cup captain. But I think, with a full strength team in 2017, Dobbo appointed me, after I'd had some great Super Rugby experience. And, being a captain has always been natural for me. I've really enjoyed being a captain. I've always loved being a captain. I felt it came quite natural. But I think, what was in that team, what was quite notable was there were other great leaders. And I think I felt really honored at that stage. A guy like Nizam Khan was very much there. And there were a number of other great leaders within the team. So I was obviously feeling very honored and privileged. But in saying that, 2017 was rocky, to say the least. So there was a lot of pressure, a lot of downs, but then a great up at the end by being crowned the champions.
Yeah, exactly. That's I wanted to continue with the question as well. I mean, I clearly remember it was a bit of an up and down season for one. I think you guys lost to the Pumas, and the Greek was on the road, if I'm not mistaken, that season. But then somewhere along the line, I'm not sure what you guys did, but somewhere along the line, things just started to click. In that last 3 weeks, you played the Sharks in Durban, and you need to win by a bonus point to be second on the lot to get home semi-final. You managed that.
Yeah.
You come back to Newlands, beat the Lions. I think it was 19-5. I was at that game, so I remember the score.
Yeah.
And then the week after, you went to Durban again and go and beat the Sharks at their home ground. I mean, that must have been probably the most proudest moment of your life.
Yeah, Angus, you spot on it. It was really special, and it's like you said. So it was up and down. I mean, there's so many moments in that season that I can remember so clearly. For example, that loss to Pumas, where I thought we had already turned the corner, and just when I thought, because that was definitely past the halfway of the season against the Pumas, so I was really feeling optimistic about the team. I thought we had a great environment that we had created. We had put in the hard work. And then we went and lost against the Pumas. But as you said, I think things just clicked at the right time. And, once we got going, it was difficult to stop us. And, backs against the wall, we go to the Sharks. And like you said, we had to win with a bonus point. We were playing a team that hadn't lost a game all season. They were unbeaten. And we went and we absolutely dominated them. And I suppose that was then just for us then probably all the affirmation that we needed going into the semi-final we got in that week before. And I think I remember specifically as well, after that win against the Sharks in Durban, we had a fantastic team function where we all got together. We all went out for dinner. You can imagine the vibe was sky high. And, we came back focused. We came back focused for the Lions, and it almost felt like things were then in autopilot. It was definitely probably from a Currie Cup point of view, definitely my career highlight.
Oh, definitely, man. I mean, I can tell you actually a story, but my friend knows about this. So on that day of the
Yeah,
final, my plan
yeah,
was I want to fly up to actually go watch you guys in Durban. Then my friend
yeah.
decided, no, I'm going to get married that same weekend. But luckily for me, so you know where, you know where the Akker is in Stellenbosch, the pub.
Yeah,
So he didn't get
yeah,
married far from there. I think about a kilometer or two. So after the ceremony, there was a little
yeah.
photo session because everything was in one spot. So there was a little photo session and cheese and wine. And I'm just like, right, I'm going to be out. Went to the car, took my jacket off, took my prom jersey. I walked to the pub. And I knew the reception starts at 4 or at 6. And I know you guys started playing at 4. It
Yes.
was an early game, I remember. And when I came back, I
Yeah, it
was
was an
so
earlier
buzzed.
game, yeah.
I was so buzzed after you guys won, and I'm just like, yeah, boys. It was amazing.
Oh, your friend wasn't very considerate, putting the wedding date on a Currie Cup final day.
Yeah, exactly. But I also think that he knew that I was going to do it. And I told him I'm going to do it. And he's like, no, bro, I know you by now.
Yeah,
It's fine. You can go.
yeah.
And you mentioned how
That's
you
special.
enjoy captaincy. And Dabo once said, that you were one of the best captains he ever worked with. What would you say is the best thing about working like a guy or with a guy like Dabo, in a captain-coach relationship?
I think I'll tell you what happened when I came back from Johannesburg, heartbroken, a bit down about the whole um, professional rugby space. I had played some club rugby up at Pirates in Johannesburg, which is renowned for having a great environment with a really special um, team vibe and culture.
Hmm?
Something that I hadn't seen before. Marty's in its own right is significant and very special, but you know, Marty's is very much a student and an elite athletes club, where Pirates is very much a workman's club. People that have 8 to 5s and play the game with the most amount of passion and for the most amount of love, you know. Um, and that was an unreal experience for me. I didn't play long there, but it stood out for me. And then I got to play professional rugby. Professional rugby gave me everything that I hoped it would be. It gave me structure. It gave me an opportunity to better myself, to showcase my talent. Um, and yet something was still missing. And then when I came to Cape Town and I met Dobbo for the second time now and got to play in one of his teams, I saw the coming together of those two things. It was this environment, belonging, and happy space of Pirates, and the professional, high performance part of what I experienced at the Lions. And it was these two coming together. And I think it takes a unique individual in Dobbo to create such an environment, you know. I mean, you've had many dealings with him. He's an incredible human, and I think he places a high premium on team environment and making people feel welcome and part of something. And I completely understood that, and I think I picked it up quite quickly, and I think I was then able to help him and be a part of his team in transferring that onto the rest of the players. I mean, it is different. It's not everyone, you know, takes to it immediately, but I believe in it, and I was a massive advocate for it. So during those times of Dobbo going from just the Vodacom Cup coach to the Currie Cup coach, and then just the Currie Cup coach to the Super Rugby coach, I was very much involved in being his disciple, if I can call it that, to get guys to come along and follow his ways. And I wouldn't have done that if I didn't believe in it and really buy into it.
Yeah, it's something that I've heard Double speak about a lot as well. He always spoke about team culture and how he wants everyone to feel a part of the team. And he also said he's very wary of cliques. He doesn't want to see you, for instance,
Yeah,
sit with lunch with Hugh Jones every week,
yeah,
or who didn't late. He always wants to make sure that
it might have happened.
It might have happened, but
it might have happened, but he would have told me. He would have called me out about it though. But it might have happened. But no, Angus, you spot on, and you know he's got many techniques. But I mean, I'll give you some of them. In any campaign that he runs, he will always have smaller groups within the squad, and that'll consist of normally it'll be, let's say, normally 4 to 5 groups within the squad of 45, and he'll meticulously sit with those groups and ensure that the guys are split up, that there are no cliques, but I'm saying that, but there was one clique that he never used to split up, and he still doesn't today. And that was Boni and Ali. For some reason, he never used to split them up. He would split me and Jonesy, and he would split me and Leggett, and me and Kebble, but he will never split Ali and Bongi. I think he just knew that Bongi would just leave his clique and go to Ali's group. But anyway, so I mean that's one of the techniques that he always used. And you know, that whole thing about you know, feeling part of something, and I believe strongly as a leadership tactic that if you feel that you belong and that you've got a place within a group, you're going to much easier follow than not. So I think, you know, I think he's got that spot on.
Sweet, man. Now, I'm actually laughing at Boni and Ali because I'm not sure if you remember the speech he made at the 2020 kickoff party. It was actually the sponsorship appreciation evening, just before the season started.
Yes.
I was there. I'm not sure if you remember. So he was like, he announced the squad, and he's like, there's Boni and Ali. They call them the for marks. So I knew that there's a big thing going on between those two.
They are ridiculous. They are inseparable. I actually feel very sorry for Ali that Bongi's leaving. I mean, besides what he's going through. But I mean, that's one that you can't seem to separate. They stick together.
Yeah, it's a shame, man. Together. But I think Ali will be okay, man. He'll be fine.
No, he will. He'll be fine, man. He'll be good. He'll be good.
And I've mentioned the kickoff party now. Dobbo also mentioned in his speech that he believed in his heart that before COVID came and disrupted everything, that particular squad of that year of last season, they would have, you guys would have made the Super Rugby final. And I remember his words clearly. He said, on the 22nd of June, this is how we're going to send off Newlands. Sadly, it didn't happen. And, you know, COVID robbed us of so many games. Do you feel that, you know, after COVID, you know, the results hasn't gone as great as you probably would have hoped? You know, the team's form initially was great, but then there was a bit of a dip. Do you feel that this Currie Cup season, they might turn things around and bring a trophy back to Cape Town again?
So let me start off with that 2020 season. And I mean, I agreed with Dobbo completely. I think that squad was so well set up, and we started off really well. You know, the Blues game wasn't ideal in the Sharks, but I still think that with a touring team that was going to go overseas, I think I still believe we would have done something special that year, last year. Then COVID came, and there were a big focus on territory. They thought and felt that was a major issue within the game. They invested a lot of time and focused on changing our territory game, which I think they did. And now I think, you know, what has happened with COVID is that you forced quite a lot of players out in one or other way, and you've created a great squad depth with a number of very impressive youngsters. And you've still got that great management team. So my sentiment is that we can still do something very special this year when it comes to the Currie Cup. And furthermore, I think the future is very bright. You've got guys like Jean de Jong and Dion Ferrier coming back to guide the guys a little bit more. And like I said, like some really impressive youngsters coming through, and I can't wait to watch them do so well for the beloved Stormers.
Definitely, man, definitely. I also think that they'll pull something through the season. So I'm hoping that tomorrow night they beat the Sharks. Because you know the tendency, the Sharks beat us here, we beat them there. I don't want to see that anymore. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of it now.
No, home ground advantage, much better. Yeah.
Look, I mentioned Newlands as well, and it's a sensitive topic, I think, for myself and for you. But there was an advert on television. I think it was still last season or the season before, where your father spoke quite fondly and quite emotionally about you and your brother Anton, both having played and captain province, and how special Newlands is. I mean, how hard, is it for you and your family to actually to have said goodbye to the grand old lady in such a fashion? Because I mean, it wasn't ideal at all that you had to, lose the last game to the Sharks at Newlands.
Yeah, no, but I mean, not only that. I mean, it almost felt like by the time we got to that game, we tried to justify that we wanted to leave it on the best sentiment, but I mean, it was never going to happen with an empty stadium. It was never the way it was supposed to be. There was always supposed to be one last game, which hasn't happened for obvious reasons. And it is very sad. That stadium means so much to so many people, not only those that run onto the field, probably more to those that sit in the stands. And it is very, very sad. But in saying that, COVID, I said it from the start, is bigger than any industry, any game. And unfortunately, this stadium that we've now had to say goodbye to in the worst manner possible is just another, part of what has been a very tough and challenging time for many people. So, it is sad, and my hope is still somehow that they're able to do some sort of farewell game with people there. I don't even know if it's possible, but I think that's what it deserves. It deserves a sold out exhibition game, or one last Currie Cup game, or one last Super Rugby game. Just people back in the stadiums watching, saying goodbye in the best way, possible, with the loudest stadium by far that you can play in, that I played in worldwide. A very, very special place. And let's hope somehow they can say goodbye to it in a manner that it so deserves.
No, definitely. I mean, I would love for one last dance, to be honest, to sit there in Block F and I have my little castle or whatever the case may be, and support the guys and chirp the opposition. I don't do that, but I mean, those guys in the front, they chirp the opposition.
You can hear it all.
One more time, and it's
and the smell. I mean, there's so much for me. There's so much for me that place. It's there's that wet grass. It's the smell of the breweries, the yeast from next door. It's an incredible place, and it's more than just what it looks like. It's a feeling, and it touches all the senses of that place.
Yeah, definitely, man. Definitely, it's something that we can speak for generations about going forward.
For sure.
But before we get too sentimental, let's get to the fun stuff, man. I wanted to ask, and I know what happens on tour stays on tour, but if you've got, say, one or two tour tales that you could tell, that's quite funny. What would you actually bring up to me?
Jeez, I wish you had prepared me. Okay, I'm gonna I want to tell a story, but I'm not going to mention the name.
That's fine.
And just to protect him. But I mean, you spend a lot of time with people on tour, and I think there's a lot of sleepwalking that takes place. And on this particular occasion, I woke up to the sound of water running. And my immediate concern was, why is the shower overflowing? But actually what had happened is this person had taken a wrong turn to get to the bathroom and started urinating in the wrong place. So I quickly got up to guide the person back to the bathroom, but an honest mistake that the person obviously mid sleepwalk didn't find the bathroom.
Wow, I didn't expect that one, to
Yeah.
be honest, but that's actually freaking funny. And I'm going to put you on the spot with this one, but it's nothing major. So, who was your best roomie on tour, and who was the worst one? And if you can provide the
Jeez.
reasons, even better.
I've had the best roomies. I mean, I can give them to you. I mean, I'm going to leave someone out, but I mean, Scara. I mean, the worst part is that most of my roommates left the union. So, I mean, I had Ollie Kebble, Nick Groom, Dylan Lates, Hugh Jones, Dan Creel. They all left. So, Jamie Roberts. So, I was a bit like telling Oaks, if you want to be like the guy that leaves the union next, roommate with me, Damien de Allender. They were all my roommates. But I'm the last person that they basically room with before they leave. No, I flip. You know, I've had incredible roommates. Damien de Allender, the difficulty with him is, and I did a couple of overseas trips with him, is that he takes his PlayStation with, and he plays FIFA, and he's very competitive. So I'll be minding my own business, you know, maybe checking my emails or reading a book or something, and I'll see a PlayStation control fly past my eyes, and he's throwing it against the wall because he says the controller doesn't work because Chelsea scored and he's not playing for Chelsea, whatever. So he's always dangerous. Scara doesn't like to wear clothes, ever.
Okay. There comes the good stuff.
Doesn't like to wear clothes. So that was always interesting. Hugh Jones doesn't stop talking, never stops talking. So that was always challenging. Dylan Lates always liked to sleep the whole time. And Dylan tells me that, who did he say always slept? Oh, that Ciabella always sleeps. Now, I don't want to know what that's like because Dylan, when I spent with him, always slept. So if he's saying that about Ciabella, he obviously like permanently sleeps because Dylan was basically never awake. No, and yeah, all just great. I mean, I genuinely don't have anything bad to say about my roommates. I think I was very shrewd in the ones I chose, and you know, looking back on my career, those are the things that actually are tangibly still intact, and those are the relationships that are formed. And all those people that I mentioned now, you know, I've still got a proper relationship with, a good friendship, and that's what the game has given me, and I'm truly grateful for that.
I think that's the best part about sport in any case. I mean, you stop playing now, in a couple of years, those guys will stop playing, but you always have that bond. You know, it's not what you did on the field, but what you did off it. So those are the memories you actually always have with you, you know, going forward in your life.
Exactly.
And look, if you don't want to answer this is fine. But you know, the unit itself has gone through tough times since 2016. And there's still some issues going on. We're not going to delve into that. But what is your wish for Western Province, and the pathway do you think they should take going forward?
I mean, my wish is that I won't comment on the pathway going forward. I don't think I'm qualified or understand exactly what's going on there. But I mean, my wish is just that we can create the platform for the brand and the players to be able to showcase their talents all the time by putting what happens on the field first and foremost all the time. That would be my wish.
Short and sweet. I like that. Awesome.
Short and sweet. Yeah.
Short and sweet. Thanks, man. And now, as retired rugby player and qualified chartered accountant. What's the plan for Chris van Zyl for life after rugby?
Angus, I mean, part of the reason why I retired early or that I left early was that my plan was what came together, something I'd been working on for a couple of months, and that was an opportunity that came to me. And so I literally finished at the end of April, and I started my new job on the 1st of May with a property fund called Equitas. And that came to me via an opportunity or by having conversation with the ex-province flyer, Rian Gous. Him and I started chatting, and it's an amazing place to work, and I've really enjoyed my first 2 months. And the way forward will be, to take that and to really make a success of the opportunity I've been given, and apply myself and challenge myself and try and build something special. I started another business in 2017, which is still running, called Walworth Consulting. I've taken a bit of a back step for now, but we still employ 6 people, and that's running, and that's also part of my passion. So I would say the pathway going forward is to really challenge myself and to strive to continue to better myself now as a fully professional business person. I've got so many. What is quite exciting for me is that just as when I started to be a professional rugby player, I had goals and aspirations and things I wanted to achieve. I'm now on that same cycle again as I've started this new journey, and that's really inspiring me. And at the moment, I'm finding myself being so stimulated and refreshed by this new challenge, and so yeah, in a real good space, and can't wait to see what the future holds.
Amazing, man, amazing. Now I'm happy that sorry, it's not COVID, but I'm happy that you have a clear plan going forward, man, and I hope all is going well for you, for your future endeavors. But before we wrap up, just one last question. Any advice to any player or any person, might experience hardship in their careers as you have in 2014?
Yeah, I think that's such a great way to finish, Angus. I think that's such a great question as well, because I would say twofold. One is that every single person that has made it to the top or has made it to an elite level of professional sport has had hardship, guaranteed. Name the person, I'll tell you somewhere along the line they've had hardship. And something that I live by, because most of my achievements didn't come easy, whether it was academics or sporting, is that the greater the sacrifice and the greater the hurt in order to achieve, the greater the feeling of accomplishment that you will have at the end. So revel in the hardship, revel in the discomfort, because know that the satisfaction that you get by the time you achieve what you've set out to achieve will be greater for the harder it was to get it.
Wow. I couldn't have put that any better, in all honesty. That's amazing.
Yeah, it's a nice way to look at it, It's applicable to all facets of life.
Absolutely. So Chris, man, we're finally done. I hope I didn't take too much of your time. Thanks so much for joining me again.
Such a pleasure.
I really appreciate this. And keep warm that side, keep safe. And I'll see you soon, maybe for a beer whenever, we're allowed to have one in public again.
Exactly. Like Angus, thanks very much for your time, man. It was great to chat.
Cheers, man. Bye-bye.
Cheers, brother. Bye.